Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's interview, we're going to talk to someone who has a lot of experience teaching online. So let's welcome Stephen to the live interview today. And of course, some of you will be watching the playback, but if you are attending live, feel free to drop questions in the chat and I will put them up on the screen and we will answer them. But Stephen's been teaching online for about 6 years on a few different platforms. I met Stephen as a Zebra English teacher. He would sometimes post things and I would be like, okay, this guy really knows what he's talking about, because he would ask really insightful questions or he would make posts that someone who was a newbie would not make. So let's join Stephen, and please help me and give him a warm welcome.
Hey, good morning. Hey, good morning. Good afternoon. It's evening for you, right?
Yes, it's evening. It is 7:01 p.m. for me. So
8:01 for me.
There you go. There you go. I don't know if I'd rather have it be 8:01 a.m. or 7:01 p.m. Do you prefer mornings or evenings?
Here is me. I am a morning person. I am an evening person. I am not an afternoon person. So I like, when it comes to teaching, I tend to block out those times between like 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock. I'm dead. I'm out. I would probably do really well in Spain because I think they do siesta then, right?
Yes, they do. They do.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, I had thought maybe Latin America did siestas as well, and it's really country specific. So I found some countries in Latin America kind of have a siesta time and then others don't. And my good friend in Ecuador, I always ask him, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, you've already had lunch, haven't you? And he's like, we had coffee. But
we took a coffee.
Yes, right. And then they eat later. So they eat everything later.
Yes,
right?
Me too. I'm a late eater. I love to eat late.
Me too.
I still call my mom for recipes on how to cook something. And I would call her at 10 o'clock my time. She said, honey, why are you eating so late? That's just me. I'm just a late eater. I love it. It's the end of my day. And I do what you're not supposed to do. I eat and I go right to bed.
Yeah, I know. They say that that's terrible. I do that too. I have 4 kids, but there's times where I'm feeding them at 9 o'clock at night, and that's not good. But
whatever.
know, they're teenagers. They can make themselves food, and I'm a terrible cook anyway. So I'm going to say hello to Patricia. Hello, Patricia. Nice to see you. We have Stephen here, and Stephen is a veteran online ESL teacher. You've been doing this longer than me, about 6 years. I've been about 5 as a speech therapist and online teacher. So tell me, how did you start with ESL teaching?
Okay, so I started out of desperation. I was in Bangkok, Thailand, and I had moved from the U.S. This was 8 years ago, by the way, and I thought I was going to be a day trader because I was in real estate before that. I thought I was going to be a day trader. Well, I'm not a good day trader. And so while I'd lose money trading, I did lose time and money it costs to live life. So I ran out of funds and needed to do what many people do in Thailand is they go into teaching ESL. And I had to get a TEFL certificate to do that. So my TEFL training was 12 weeks in a live classroom. It was 12. And it was intense. It was really, really intense.
So I had to do something like that. I had to do student teaching as a speech language pathologist for a semester. So I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was good because they had kids coming in and you had to, I have to say this, that training helped me more than any of the training I got on the platforms, because it basically told you get a lesson plan and you tear it apart and you only take what you need and make it work. That's really what I learned from that. Anyway, I did that, and so I had to go work in the Thai classrooms, and I literally took a motorbike 30 kilometers back, 60 total, every morning to a little school called Wiwat, where we're all little kids and no air conditioning.
Okay, wait a minute. A motorbike?
Yeah, that's how we get around, motorbikes. So I had my motorbike, and in the rain, because it's in Thailand and here, I'm in the Philippines now, it's just rain all the time. So you're, And long sleeves. You have to teach in long sleeves, because if you're a good teacher in Thailand, you wear long sleeve shirt. You don't have to be a good teacher. You just have to look like a good teacher. No joke. So anyway, I was teaching.
I love sleeves, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need to look good. Looking the part in Thailand is the most important part. It's more important than the being. So anyway, and so that's what they perceive to be a good teacher. Anyway, so I did that. I worked in the live classroom, 40 to 50 kids at a time, screaming with the Thai teacher there to help out. And I basically did this, and this is the same thing I do in my in my online classrooms, is I turned it into a show. I just made a show of it every day. So I had my puppet, I did a show, and they let me do my own thing, and it made me really popular. So that's where I got started. Then, of course, that was no money. That was the equivalent of maybe $400 or $500 a month.
How did you live on that?
I had money already in the bank, but that was going, and my time was going, and my brain was going, because it was just so much work. And so then I saw this. I saw it was VIPKid. And I don't know where I saw the link, somewhere, and I did the interview thing, and I was really scared about getting paid. And I thought, how are we going to get paid for this?
Did you think that it was like a scam?
Well, it could be, yeah, because at that time VIPKid was new, so I was amongst the first 1,000 teachers, right? Okay. And so they were brand new, and weren't organized. They were doing interviews on Skype. So in fact, the firemen were on Skype. In fact, everything was Skype. So so I did my interview, but I nailed it. Nailed it right off the bat, that first mock class.
Wow.
And that's what got me started.
So it was on Skype.
Yep.
Okay. So what did they have you do? You remember?
Barely. I think it was like letter A and a tomato or something. I can't remember what it was. And you have your whiteboard, and you had to do all that stuff.
How many props? Did you have to use 3 props?
Yeah, you had all these rules about how many props you use. I have my own theory about props and stuff we can talk about later. But we did all that. But here's what's interesting. So when I nailed the interview, and I never became a real teacher. I was a trial only teacher, and have up until last month, for 5 years, as a trial only teacher.
Oh my gosh, I never knew that about you.
Yes. So those 4 lessons that you see. Yes. That's all I taught for 5 years.
Didn't you go insane?
Well, I never looked at the PPT. Never. I never used it. I did it to open, but I just did my own thing, because I was always, it's a sales team. I'm working with a sales team. And my conversion rates were 30-40%. That's so. Remember,
so let's talk 20%. Good. So the fact that you were double that.
Well, so you get your $5 whatever it is, plus, now here's the deal. Sorry, folks, this doesn't exist anymore, but I got paid whether they showed up or not.
Oh, how did you work that?
That's just the way it went. Because I think they were thinking at the time, who wants to do these redundant trial classes over and over again? I had no clue what I said yes to. I just said, okay, cool, whatever, okay. And they said you get paid no matter whether they show up or not. Well, at that time, it was like a 40% no-show rate. So you could literally, book every slot knowing that you're going to have a break, knowing that the tech was going to go out or whatever, and you're going to. So there was a time that I was banking pretty good. I was doing pretty good at the time, but burnout.
How many hours a week, or how many hours a day would you have slots scheduled?
Back then?
Yes.
It kind of went into a wave, because back then it was like tick, 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 a lot. And then I started burning out, went tick, 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 and now I'm back up to a lot, because we want to try to save as much money as we can now. Right. Because who knows when it's hasta la vista.
Yes.
But
maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow. No. I'm in denial. No, I'm kidding. Well, here's what happened. About 2 years into that, I started becoming a mock class mentor.
Okay, so after 2 years after
Something
starting
like that, yeah.
with VIPKid, you were okay.
Yeah.
So, and you became a
And I
mentor.
really didn't do any more trial classes because I was so busy being a mock class mentor. The pay was better and it was different. Well, it was kind of different. But then we were just doing one lesson, whatever the mock class lesson was. But that's a VIP. Man, I'm telling you, it's. I'll let you ask your next question, and then I can go into that stuff.
Okay. So you started out teaching mainly trial
class,
and
then, I didn't mention this. They, because of my conversion rate, they gave me an award, and I was in that first group of teachers to go to China.
Oh yes, that's right. So this is funny. This morning, I got on Facebook. And you know how they have those friends listed as people you may want a friend or whatever? Guess who came up as in my picture?
Who?
Cindy.
Oh, Cindy. Oh, really?
Yes. And it was like an old photo of her, like when she very first probably started VIPKid, with this puppet that kind of looked like an early stage of dino. Very interesting.
Prehistoric dino.
Yes.
Did you friend her?
I didn't, because I was like,
let's do it. Just do it. You know who it will accept you? I forget her partner's name, her business partner's name. There are two of them. Well, there's more than that, but two of the faces. And I forgot the other. I'm sorry if you watch this and I forgot your name. I'm just drawing a blank. But yeah. So I met them.
What year did you go?
Okay, so my visa for China is going to expire. Let's see, it's going to expire. Okay, so it was the year 2016.
Okay.
Here's my China visa that I got through VIPKid. This is 10 years, 10 years.
Wow.
It was not easy to get this. There was a lot of back and forth between embassies to get to China.
Wow.
FYI. Yeah.
Okay, so you went there to meet Cindy.
There were four of us.
Okay.
There were four of us that went, and they took you. So through those meetings, I didn't even know if I know they don't do them now, but I don't know how long they have not been doing it. But when you go there, it's like a red carpet event from the minute you arrive at the airport to everything. Every day is full. Orange shirts. Interviews from media. Cameras here, there, food. And this was when VIPKid wasn't in the tall building it's in now. It was in these little buildings that they kept renting and clustering together in Beijing.
Okay.
And so everybody, back then it was really cool. You knew everybody. There was like one person doing everything, and you had relationships with people. But at that time, it was becoming the turning point. It was when you started seeing all the bitching and complaining from all the teachers.
Yes.
That's when things changed and it became very impersonal. It changed a lot.
So tell me, what was your meeting like the first time you met Cindy? What was that like?
So she scheduled a time for us to go in and do a Q&A. So she sat literally on her desk with her little clipboard, and gosh, I keep forgetting her name. I'll think of it in a little bit. Was there too. So I brought gifts for them.
Okay.
So I brought her a book, and I brought the other one a scarf.
Okay,
a silk scarf.
So tell me, what was the book that you gave Cindy?
It was called The Virgin Way. Now it's now I probably should have given more thought into it before I gave it, but hopefully she actually read deeper than the cover. But it's Richard Branson's story of Virgin Airlines and Virgin and all of his branding. The purpose of giving her that book was in that period of time. I made it very casual. I said, "Oh, this is a great book. I just read it. It was really cool. Maybe you like it. Maybe you won't. Check it out." It was like that. I didn't point out, "Hey, you need to read this and follow this."
Right.
But the book basically speaks about how your people, your talent are number one, even above your customers.
Oh.
Because if you take good care of your talent, if you take good care of them, then they'll take good care of your people. And I saw that this was not happening anymore with VIPKid. They were first, in my opinion, taking care of themselves first. and they were listening to their parents, which is why we have 25 slides in a class, and unnecessarily, right? We could do a 25-minute class in 4 slides, which I do all the time. In fact, that's probably all we should do. Anyway, so I saw that happening, and that was the message in the book that I gave her. Did she read it? I don't know. I have no clue, but that's what I gave her. And they didn't let me go, so that must have been okay. I did get fired from one position there, though, but we can talk about that in a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So you started off as a teacher, and you quickly went to a trial teacher only because
that's all I ever did. Yeah,
that's all you did. So did you ever teach the master class, the regular classes?
Just this last month.
Okay, so just this last month. So then you went from trial teacher to mock mentor. So tell me.
And also coach to new teachers, and also new teacher evaluator.
Okay.
And workshop.
So did you watch video clips of new teachers?
Yes, there was a while that they did that, then they stopped it. And I think it was probably a legal reason. There was a legal reason behind it.
Okay.
So you had to look at people and suggest that they wear an orange shirt. Of course, that all stopped. When I started, you had to wear an orange shirt. You had to.
Okay.
Anyway, so you had to go through this list of people and tell new teachers what they could do better, basically. And it was almost like that mock evaluation again. And I was head of that team, and I had 5 or 6 people that our goal was to get all these done really, really fast, really, really fast. Okay. And then you'd send off.
So did you have 5 or 6 people that worked under you that were in Beijing, or other?
No, all other teachers. Maybe even somebody's watching it now who was part of that team.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So why did you then segue into doing workshops?
I was asked to do when I went to Beijing another time.
Oh.
But no, I was angry that time. And I got on I was really upset with them, and I went to talk to them personally. So I got on the.
You booked your own flight?
I took my own money, and I said, enough of this, because I was tired of not getting answers. So I was only a 4 or 5 hour flight away. So I went in there and had 2 or 3 days in Beijing. Yeah, and went through.
So did they listen? Did they listen to you?
Yes, and I think it partially worked to my advantage through a relationship that I built, and I think it worked to my disadvantage later because they asked my opinion. They asked my opinion about the mock class process, and I gave them my opinion, which you and I have talked about before. I think about the mock class process, and I don't think that they liked that, and I did not do mock classes for much longer.
Okay, but then they said we want you to do workshops.
The workshop. So VIPKid has all these different teams.
Yes,
and they're not really that connected very well.
You know what? That is something that I'm seeing in all of the platforms I've worked for. The different divisions do not communicate effectively. No. And it makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you get all this conflicting information. Anyway, so I started my workshop that I did. There were 3 of them that I did. Okay. And it was from the I can't remember whoever was doing workshops at that time. And I wanted to do one about business, the business of what we do. And how to look at this as a business. Stop looking at this as a job. Because as you know, everybody looks at it as a job. Like, they did this to me, they did that to me, they did this to me, or I'm not getting these. Or
you see what my name is? I am
Teacherpreneur. Right, good. And this is the title everybody really should take. This is probably why a lot of people are going to have a hard time with this transition. Because they're putting all the blame and all, they're not taking responsibility for their own business. Look, VIPKid, ZebraKid, whoever they are, they're just a vendor who gives you students. That's it. And you play by their rules to get in the door. You do what you can. And as long as they'll keep you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay, good.
I had to mute my microphone because my son is cutting his pizza, and that's loud.
Oh my God!
In my kitchen. So
does this mean you won't get any of the pizza?
No, I've already eaten.
Oh, okay. All right. So I don't know. Where did we leave off? We left off at workshops. So I did a workshop on I forgot what the name of it was. I did that one, and then I did another one called improvisation. It was an improv workshop, and it was because of my it was like something about trials. I kind of combined trials and improvising, because I think that's a huge skill people need to have when they're teaching, improvising. But the problem with that is you're told to stick to a script. But the reality is that doesn't work. If you stick to the script, you won't convert students, and they're going to be bored to death.
Yes. So what I have found, I'm sure you have your own formula, but for me, in my teaching and in my business, I'm always about making connections, developing relationships.
Yes.
And going off script is necessary. Following this child's lead, adapting to where they're at, and improvising is so important.
So we, like anybody who's Zebra and do these TBL, I don't even know what that means. Do you know what that means, TBL?
Yes, I should, as a mentor there, it's task-based learning. Task-based learning. It's
bleep me, but it's horrible because it's just them. They have no clue what they're saying, most of them, 90% of the time. So you're trying to rip it apart, but you don't know if you should rip it apart because somebody's watching you, or are they watching you, or is mom going to get mad? You don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, I was going to say, the good news, once all this stuff came out, and since no one's watching at the office, do what you want.
Well, I have to say, my teaching has gotten better. I'm having more fun. The parents, the ratings are getting better because I have. First of all, no trials. Trials are the reason you get those horrible ratings. Those trials are gone. I'm talking with Zebra.
Right.
And I tear the lessons down. Sometimes I don't even go through that slide. I'll go to the opening slide and I will improvise that slide and then go to the next one. Because I know that they're going to struggle and it's going to be boring. Boring. So whoever's creating this material is not teaching it. They must not be teaching it.
So I have to give a disclaimer. So for those teachers who are watching and you're going to transition to another platform, if you want to keep your job, don't do what we're talking about.
Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
You can and use some improvisation, but if you want to work for a platform, they do have criteria and you want to follow those. But that brings me to the next point, which is, guess what, guys? This situation in China has forced many people to consider other options. So what's up next for you?
Well, what's up next has been happening throughout this entire time. It's just taking me forever because of all this up and downness that's going on. But I have a business background, and I'm a business coach, and that's what I do. So, I mean, the good and the bad news is I'm going to have more time to focus on that when it happens. But I am in a foreign country, and I have to keep income up. If I don't have income, then I'm messed up.
Right.
To put it lightly, right? And so that's what's next for me. But I learned a long time ago. You have to be diversified. These companies that you work for, they're diversified. They have several other teachers, right? Of course, they would love it if you put all your eggs in their basket, but you can't. You can't do that.
And that's what Zebra did. Zebra really, they looked
with that forced bookings.
They looked for those teachers that would just teach with Zebra. And I know a lot of teachers would just teach with GoGo.
Yeah.
And so when GoGo closed, I felt terrible for those teachers who they relied all of their income. And then boom, one morning you wake up, done. I can't.
Yeah. So I mean, my suggestion to people would be right now is to take inventory of, I call it your low-hanging fruit.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is, what talents and skills do you have right now? Not that you have to go develop, because that takes too much time. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but right now, what is it you can do that you could turn into a source of revenue?
Okay. So what can you do right now to turn into revenue?
Yeah. So look at what you've been doing with VIPKid. or whoever you've been with. What have you been doing? Well, okay, there's teaching, of course. That's the obvious low-hanging fruit. But what skills did it take to do that, right? Were you once camera shy, now you're not anymore? Were you once not able to speak in public, but now you can? Are you really suddenly good at technology where you started out with nothing? Could you become a VA? I've seen that going on. Virtual assistant. What could you do with that? So instead of panicking right now, you give yourself 5 minutes to panic and then get over it and get on a piece of paper and start putting out what it is what your skills are and where you can take that and where you can make money at it. Doing it. And then, there are lots of platforms out there. There's Fiverr, which is kind of low paying, but there's lots of different places that you can go and put your what's Upwork, all those things. For example, if you're good at grammar, you could be doing
copyright editor,
all that stuff, right? Anything like that. So, but start thinking about what's next for you and forget about how old you are. So first of all, I just want to tell you, I'm 53. I am 53 years old.
You look amazing.
Thank you. So I'm 53. It doesn't matter how old you are. Forget about it. Just get in there and start taking action. That's what's going to pull. If you're in a funk right now, that's what's going to pull you out of it.
So Patricia says that she's going to teach online preschool. She's setting up her website and working with a coach. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
there it is, guys. Yeah. So working with a coach, I say this on all of my videos, it really helps you frame what it is that you want to do. And coaches do a great job of asking questions that lead you to solutions. So you're not going to tell people you need to do this, but you're going to help them figure it out, right?
You mean a coach? Yeah, it depends also. 59. All right. You look great, Patricia, and congratulations on your new thing. Here's the deal, folks. You may start off in one direction and it may go another direction, but you would never, and this is really probably what's going to happen for everybody, but you would have never gotten there if you didn't start.
Yes.
And this is where also we need to lean into our faith. And I'm not I'll just put a disclaimer. I'm not religious at all. But if you meditate or whatever it is you do, really lean into that, because I truly believe we all have a purpose here in this world. And we're all going through this for a reason. I mean, collectively. Yes. This is a big deal. Hundreds of thousands of teachers at one time. Are all going through this stuff. China's going through their stuff. Everybody's going through this stuff for a reason. So you need to go through this and then go to your next thing, whatever that is.
Yes. And I feel that the first step is the hardest.
Yes.
Because a lot of people who are drawn to teaching are also people who are methodical in doing things a certain way. And it can be difficult to have to make decisions that are not planned out. Right. That you feel that's pressure. Now, we still have time. I mean, yes, they're short on time and we don't know when the ending is, which I've done a live on my Facebook group talking about that, where I applaud those teachers who actually are resigning because they just cannot handle the stress of the unknown, right? And so they decide I'm just going to take a break and find other things. But some people can't afford to do that.
That's right.
So I think it's important to value everyone's journey. So Alana, thank you, Alana. Alana is often here on my channel watching, and she says great information. Thank you. So thank you, Stephen. I think that you're spot on. So what's your plan for the next month?
Well, I'm doing I'm exhausted, to be honest with you, because not only am I taking as many classes as I can, connecting with students, WeChat, putting together my private tutoring stuff, right? So that I can take those kids somewhere when they do go. But I'm also trying to get another gig that's a consistent gig, so that I can then finally focus on my coaching, on my coaching business, which is really what I want. It's really challenging when there's this thing that you want and all this stuff keeps jumping in the way, all of this stuff. But those are the things that make you strong.
That's true. That's true.
Look, this is going to sound kind of weird, but the worst thing that can happen to any of us is death.
That's right.
But I don't think that's the worst thing. I think that's the best thing. And I don't mean that in a weird way, but I think that that's just a new transition in life. And this is just so right now. So with that in mind, Cheri, do you ever watch those documentaries about near-death experiencers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they always say this when they come back to live without fear, that you're here for a purpose and to love, right? They always say the same thing. So for those of you who've never watched any documentaries about near-death experience, I really suggest that you go watch it because it gives you great strength to not be afraid to pursue whatever it is you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So living without fear. So think about it. Think about it somewhat like we would our students that we're teaching, our young children. Like, they're fearless for the most part.
Yes.
Once they get to a certain age, once they start attending maybe first grade, that's when they start to become fearful.
Well, they don't become fearful. They get conditioned with fear.
You're right. They get conditioned to be to fear certain things. But live as you did when you were a toddler. Yeah. And you want to experience everything for yourself firsthand.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but I was, and still to this day, am a person that if someone says, don't touch that, that's hot, right? And I did. Don't put your finger in the outlet. It will hurt you. Guess what I did? I took a fork.
Yeah.
And I was 5. I knew better. Yeah. But I'm always, if somebody says you can't do this, I'm like, just watch.
You bring up a very important point. And I was just thinking about this the other day. Because I also watch all those movies where people, get murdered and stuff like that. I shouldn't watch that stuff. But I'm talking about the documentaries. Yes. And you always have the parent who tells the girl that guy is not good for her, right? And because the parent knows. But look, here's the deal. That girl or that woman needs to go through that experience. We need to fail in order to learn how to succeed. So if we look at it that way, it's not failure. It's just part of the learning experience. Now, here's the problem is when we keep repeating the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. That's when it's a problem.
Yes, I would completely agree with you. I tell my athletes that I coach that failure is your first attempt in learning. You learn something from it.
You brought up something too, athlete. You all need to get up off the sofa and go do some fitness of some sort. Seriously, it's something competitive because it teaches you that you have wins and losses, and in athletics, as you know, you always have both. But if you don't play, you get nothing.
Right. So my coach that I work with in training elite athletes, she always tells the athletes to play up. Play up.
What's that mean?
Play up means play fearlessly.
Oh, okay.
Don't be afraid to fail. Show up. Play up.
Yeah, got it. Yep.
Yeah. So amazing things. So Patricia said, fail forward. She also said fail up. Those are all great things.
That's right, Patricia.
So I think for me, it's just, making that decision. You said, the first step is hard, and I'm often afraid that I'm going to make the wrong decision. I'm going to make the wrong choice. And I'm also in my late 40s, 50s, like right here. I'm knocking on that door. But
what door is it you're knocking on? What door do you think you're knocking on?
50.
Oh, 50. No big deal.
But I'm also saying to myself, it doesn't matter. I have just as much drive as what I did when I was 30. Now,
maybe more.
Can I stay up all night? No. And not really be functioning the next day. And I don't remember things like I used to. But I still have a strong desire to help others and continue to be a lifelong learner. And I want to play up. I love to win. I'm very competitive. And these are all things that I think will help me show my kids that you can do things that are hard but you can learn from your mistakes and keep on
Keep
going.
pushing. You're a good example. You know, by the way, I want to say, I'm sorry, one more thing. Some people are thinking about transitioning into something new. Whatever it is that you do, make sure it's something that serves and it's something that you can do with love.
Okay.
Because if you go into something that you're doing it just for the money, there's nothing wrong with money, by the way. I think money's great. It's lovely. But what I mean is, if you're doing it just for that purpose, you're going to bail or you're going to hate it. And you're not doing your purpose. so business is about love. That's what we're giving. That's what we're supposed to do, right? So find something you love. This is your opportunity now to transfer to something that you love to do rather than something you hate to do. But sometimes we got to do what we got to do until we can do what we want to do.
Yes, I think that you can still do something that you feel like you're serving, even if it's not the thing that you want to do forever, but you can still find those tidbits of things that make you feel like you are serving others. I completely agree with that. Yeah. So what are your final thoughts for someone who is in that spot? So I like to say, get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because we're uncomfortable, but that's what's going to make us grow. So
I had an acting teacher once say, "Sit in the shit." That's what they told me. Sorry, it's like sitting in a bad diaper.
Oh, well, you know what kids do? They just take it off and it goes everywhere.
There you go. Sorry.
And that's where the saying, "the shit hit the fan."
That's right. Thank you. That's where that came from. I knew it. So, okay, what was your question again?
So my question is, what are your final thoughts for people that are like still kind of stuck? Because there are people that might be stuck and not sure where to go next.
Well, I think take that inventory of your low-hanging fruit and what you're good at. Start with that and what you want to do. By the way, when you finally find a business, though, that you're interested, make sure that people actually want the business. So probably being a rock polisher may not make you too much money right now, even if it is something you love to do. That might need to be a hobby.
Right.
Right.
So if I could, I would interview people all the time, but I'm not in journalism, and this YouTube page.
But you're a good interviewer.
0. Well, thank you for that. I know you've done a lot of interviews. And so I want to finish things up with just saying to everyone, I think one of the most important skills to help you in being an entrepreneur is to network. And, I met Stephen through, I just sent him a message, and I've sent 5 messages today to people that I don't really know, but I think they would be great interviewees, and I think they would bring interesting information to my audience. And guess what? I will be working with you. You've sent me material that's going to help me, and I'm trying to help you find other opportunities. And you just never know. When you network, you're doing something to try and just meet more people, learn, but then you're creating opportunities, maybe not for you, but maybe for someone else.
Yes. Stuff comes in directly, often, mostly.
Yes.
Mostly.
Yes. So I cannot, and I know people are like, oh, I don't like to be on social media. The positive of social media is that you're not limited by, if I just went on my little rural area, I would have very few opportunities to do anything else. So
where is it you live again?
So I live in West Central Illinois. I'm surrounded by cornfields, and to get to a major, I'm about 3-hour drive from Chicago. So, there's Chicago, and then there's the rest of the state downstate. I love where I live because it's so cheap to live here. My house payment is less than my car payment.
Oh my God.
And I just drive a minivan, so it's not like I'm driving a Tesla. Oh, I have a funny story, and then we'll finish up. So I was doing a lesson last night with I have a small startup that I'm working with in Hong Kong where we do dialogic reading. So it's book reading, and then you extend with the student, and you get them to use sentences, and
I love that.
It's so much fun. And I'm their mentor teacher, like they're consulting with me to build their business. Anyway, so I'm doing this lesson with this little guy, and the photo is of a car. And I'm like, oh, and I'm trying to get him to tell me headlights. And I'm circling the headlights. Oh, what do you see, Clayton? And he says, Tesla. Well, it was a Tesla.
Oh, wow.
I said, Dad, did he just say Tesla? Yes. And I'm like, Clayton, does Dad drive a Tesla? And he says, no, but I will. And I was like, you go.
I love those conversations when they happen.
Yeah. I mean, and that's one of the joys of teaching, is that you just never know what your student's going to say. And to me, a lesson without laughter is not a worthy lesson. I mean, you have to laugh. It's part of, it opens your brain to new pathways and creates connections that are emotionally driven. So it's just something that they're going to pull on, and they're going to want to return to the classroom. So many things. But anyway, I digress. Sometimes I go this way or that way.
That's all right. That's all right.
But thank you so much, Stephen. You have an amazing life experience, and I love what you shared. And so, guys, I know he's not here to plug his coaching business because he's not really you don't really specialize on teachers. But if you guys think of other businesses, like, reach out for a business coach. Stephen does this, and he is so helpful, has a lot of life lessons that he can share with you.
And Patricia, good luck. And was there somebody else who also was starting something? Did I see?
I did not see anyone else.
Okay.
Alana was just saying good info. Yeah. So I think that we'll get a lot of comments afterwards. Yeah. So guys, leave your comments and I will respond to them. And have a great rest of your day. Happy Monday to you.
Okay, thank you. Bye. See you later. Take care.
Bye, Stephen.
Bye-bye. Take care.